I'm in front of 20 to 30,000 a day, introducing artists, doing bits. I'll find like the rowdiest looking dude, the biggest bearded looking dude, and I'll have him shotgun a beer on stage in front of, like, just get the crowd hyped, you know? We were Bailey Zimmerman's first performance ever. We were one of Meg Maroney's first events in Nashville, Tennessee. We were one of Ella Langley, Josh Ross. You get to see the kids before they really like blow up, so to speak. If you want to be in music, like, you got to be in the scene. Go out and meet people. Nobody's going to know that you're here unless you're out introducing yourself. You got to be hungry for it. You've really got to want it. If you want to be on the all-star team, you got to get on the freaking field. And the field and the game is here.
Welcome to the XPLR NASH Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Go Explore. If you are a business owner and you're looking to improve your loyalty program, we have you covered. We have this not delicious. That's weird. We have this wonderful software that it lives on an Apple Wallet or Google Pay. I can't believe I just used the word delicious for describing this software. But you can go visit goexplore.io to learn more about this. Joining me today is one of the co-founders, correct? Or founder?
Co-owner
of Raised Rowdy, Matt Burrill. Hopefully I got your name right.
You got it,
Matt, you have a very fascinating story. You're from the Northeast like I am. So we could throw down. We could talk about pizza. We could talk about country music.
Oh, yeah.
Which that's your expertise, not mine. I don't listen to country music. I listen to more classical big bands, and country is not really in my repertoire of listening. I understand it well because I listened to a lot of it milking cows growing up. And so, but like old country, like Alan Jackson and like the 90s guys.
The good stuff.
When actually songwriters cared about their product. I don't know if that was too harsh. It could have been too harsh. I apologize if you're a songwriter and I just criticized you and you felt criticized, but all right, we're just getting into this delicious software. Delicious software.
I mean, if anybody's going to
threw me off, man.
If anybody's going to insert the word delicious in there, it's going to be you. It's going to be you, bro.
It's not going to be me. Delicious software. Oh, that's yummy. Freaking lost the full train of thought with that one.
I love it.
What is Raised Rowdy, and where did this concept of this lifestyle country brand come from?
Okay, so Raised Rowdy, we're a lifestyle brand and a media company that specializes in like the live music world, like for the fans, by the fans kind of thing. My business partner, Nick Tressler, started the brand back in 2017 in
Is he from New York too?
He's from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yep. He's from Pittsburgh and he's a few years older than I am. He'll be turning 43 in March. But yeah, he just started the brand as it was a group of friends that like to go to music festivals and concerts. Bands like the Cadillac 3, Luke Combs when he was first starting out, people like that. They would
Did you see his face? I saw this clip when Chris Stapleton won male artist, performing artist of the year. Yeah. Did you see Luke Combs' face?
No.
You should watch the clip.
Okay.
You're going to have a laugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, well, Nick and his crew back in the day would go like when you're on the road, you do like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday show. They would follow the band for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and go to 3 shows in 3 different markets. Yeah, it's just, he had a day job back at this point and everything. But the company really started through a festival called Country Concert. I know, real original name. Shout out to our friends, the Bar Horse. It's a festival that is BYOB, family owned, been going for about 40 years.
Wow.
In the western side of Ohio. And Nick and his friends went on a buddy's bachelor party in 2012, and then they just kept going back, and people there just started calling them the Rowdies. And Nick and his original business partner Jacob were just like, we can do something with this. And then the term Raised Rowdy came in and started out as a blog, a podcast. He started making some hats and shirts, would just send them out to artists like now that are really big, like the Riley Greens, the Muscadine Bloodlines, Lainey Wilson, Ashley McBride, Luke Combs, Cadillac 3. And he would just send them hats and write blogs about them online, and then do very janky, like rigged podcasts in the green rooms at small club shows in Western Pennsylvania. Whenever the artist would come through, he'd sit down and talk with them for about 15, 20 minutes. And that was the start of Raised Rowdy. And then I had always followed when I was up in New York and New Jersey, being like, damn, they're doing some cool stuff in Pittsburgh. So I was doing similar stuff, going to a lot of shows in my home neck of the woods. Then
Pittsburgh was always this interesting scene because like when I lived in Scranton, like people would travel from Scranton to go to Pittsburgh for shows, vice versa. Pittsburgh people would come up to Scranton for shows, which was interesting.
People travel all over. It's expensive to travel on that Pennsylvania Turnpike. Those tolls,
they get you. They get you. Like, why did I just pay $100 from Scranton to Philadelphia?
It's crazy, but yeah. So then, I had already been down here, and Nick moved down when COVID hit. He was able to work remote with his job, and he decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going to move to Nashville. And he moved down here, and him and I instantly became best buds. And then the opportunity presented itself to where I got to come aboard. We bought out Nick's old business partner. He wanted to get out of it. I had just gotten off my touring gig, and we've been doing it full time since April of 23. So we're coming up on 2 years full time.
That's awesome, man.
And it's a lot, but there's nothing else. And you understand, like, having your own thing where it's like, this is your job, like you're working for yourself. But as much as like there's moments that suck, we were just talking about driving from gig to gig or content shoot to content shoot. There's way worse things you could be doing.
Like work an office job.
Yeah. Like work
or actually work behind the kitchen. I get to just highlight their food. I get to do it fun.
Yeah, like working a 9 to 5 was something that you're not passionate about, but there's nothing better. And I'm very happy and blessed to be in the position that I'm in.
That's awesome. So Raised Rowdy also does live shows throughout Nashville. What's that schedule like, and where are you guys at?
So, we've been doing, I first started doing, I started my songwriters round. It's now called Outside the Round, same as the podcast, which thank you for coming on back in the day. We had you last year. It was awesome. Used to be called In the Round, and I did that at Live Oak starting September of 2019 and kept it going during COVID. We were one of the few events that grew during the shutdown time and operated under the parameters that we were allowed to, and stretching them a little bit. But so that's been every other Tuesday since 2019. Nick has had Rowdy on the Row every Sunday, going back to when it was at Live Oak. Now, both of those events, as well as our Wednesday showcase, are at Duck Blind. So we're every Sunday, every Wednesday, every other Tuesday at Riley Green's Duck Blind, formerly known as Winners.
So with that in mind, what's happening? Like, are you bringing in up and coming singer-songwriters? Are you bringing established artists? Like, what can somebody expect if they come to one of your events?
So it's a mix. I mean, we've been lucky the fact that we get to do the writers round thing where you don't need a full band, where it's 3 or 4 songwriters or young artists across on the stage at the same time, each playing a multiple of 12, like either playing, if there's 4 people, they play 3 songs. If it's 3 people, they play 4 songs. But we've been lucky to where we were Bailey Zimmerman's first performance ever. Was like cool. First ever. Like he had never played in front of people. And that was a Rowdy on the Road, the event that Nick hosted. And then about a week or 2 later, out of my mind, we were one of Meg Maroney's first events in Nashville, Tennessee. We were one of Ella Langley, Josh Ross, a band Old 60 that's doing really well. It's out of Kentucky. Their first full band show ever was our first full band showcase that we ever did at Winners. So that's it's cool. Like you get to see the kids before they really like blow up, so to speak. And
have you had an artist that started with you guys that has blown up?
Oh yeah, Old 60. I mean, we're actually going up this weekend to see. They made their Opry debut on Saturday, and their first full band show ever. They all worked at a pizza joint. They worked at Galaxy Pizza in Hancock County, Kentucky, and 2 of the other guys worked in factories up there. And they just used to jam out. And then our buddies, Wales and Davis, started managing and working with them. So we had them come and play, and it was their first full band gig ever. They had never jammed. Wow. They had jammed out in the pizza shop after hours. Yeah. And so that was a year ago. That was January of 24. Now they just made their Opry debut. They've sold out dozens of shows across the country at the club level, and we're actually going to see them this weekend at Webster Hall in New York City.
Oh, that's awesome!
Really cool.
That's
and
cool.
They're one of our like proud stories of like getting to watch it from literally the ground up.
Are you seeing a lot of label executives and people coming to your shows?
Yeah, we're
throughout the weeks.
Yeah, we're starting to see that more and more. There's definitely like the young A&R folks that are it's about having the scene, you know, and the scene has always been in Midtown, going back to Ward and Whiskey Jam being at Winners over the years. Events like Revival and Bus Call and Nashville Tour Stop and all these different events.
Bus Call's doing some cool things, man.
They are. Bus Call's doing some great things.
Category 10 and
Yeah, dude, I'm very, very happy for those guys and what they're doing. But yeah, there was our buddy Rohan, who works over at Warner. He's been legacy A&R guy there for years. years. We had him 4 events in a row where he was there. And by like the 3rd one, I was like, dude, like
you're just a permanent.
He's just coming.
Add on.
Like, cause they're just coming to see, they're just coming to, they're trusting us to have folks that we believe in. Like we've hit on enough folks, but also it's about giving the young artist, giving the young songwriter a platform to grow, make friends, hang out at Duck Blind, hang out at Losers, go down the street to Red Door, have those nights. Cause it's so networking and who you know and creating absolutely. With your friends.
All right. Now an operational question. This may bore some people. What do your systems look like in planning out these rounds? Like, are you still working on a system to like truly like finalize this, or do you guys have like fully automations and AI systems where you're like, okay, we have this, they know they're coming here, this is their call time, this like how does your infrastructure look?
So the infrastructure still is very much like Nick does it where he puts the names in the description on the Google Calendar. I have a note in my phone. And I just book
I need to get you systems.
Yeah, so I book it on that. What we use AI for, where we leverage our AI stuff is very much on the podcast side.
Of course,
that's where we leverage
everything.
The editing, the generating the short form clips, description, SEO, episode titles, like that type of stuff is very. AI, we use it for organizational stuff, like just kind of getting the idea. So like if I had somebody coming in for a guest, I'd take their one sheet and pop it in there and it'll give me those 8 like points that I want to try to. Yeah. It'll do some of the busy work, but a lot of it is what we'll do is I'll ask somebody, like say you were a songwriter, I'd say, hey Stuart, I'd love to have you play. And then I'd ask, do you want to bring 2 of your friends to play with you? Or do you want us to put some
So it's
people
free.
With you?
It's an opportunity for you. You don't have to reach out to a bunch of people.
But it's also an opportunity to where that person that I'm saying like, Stuart, I love what you're doing. Bring some of your friends that you're writing these songs with and let's give them an opportunity as well, you know? And cool. Then, cause they have more fun on stage when they're with their buddies.
Yeah.
You know? Course. So
they can tell all more authentic stories.
And it just creates like that camaraderie and then all their friends are going to come out too. And we've created friend groups also by putting young kids together. Like I remember sticking my buddies Christian Yancey with I forget who I put him with, but I remember like we ended up creating like a crew of like 10 to 20 like dudes that had just moved to town, all 25 and younger from different parts of the country, and we had them all play on the same night, and then they all went out and got a beer after. And now they write all their songs together. That's fantastic. And it's just getting to be a part of the music community because I don't know how to play an instrument, I don't know how to sing, I know how to talk, I know how to talk a lot, I know how to listen, I know how to tell people about something that I'm passionate about, but I'm not an artist, I'm not a musician. Like I get to be in the community through doing this, through doing the events and the podcasts and being a personality within the scene. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are also doing some pop-up things at larger festivals too, correct?
Yeah, so the festival thing, and it's like I said, Raised Rowdy started with Nick and his friends going to a country concert in Fort Laramie, Ohio, which will be there again now. Fast forward 12 years. It's a 4-day festival. BYOB. There's no hotels for like 25, 30 miles. So you'd love this. It's 30,000 people camping.
That probably smells disgusting on day 4.
they have it laid out in like, because again, they've been doing it for 40 years. It's family owned. They own the land and they have it down to a science of there's never any fights, never any issues, never any BS. Like it all just runs like fine-tuned oil machine. But now that Wednesday night to kick the weekend off, they do the camper party. Okay. And that band I was telling you about, Ole 60, is headlining that.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Along with our friends Lakeview, Colby Acuff, and Shelby Ray, who are, again, all people that have kind of started through our events over the past 4 or 5 years. And the event, that camper party is called the Raised Rowdy Camper Party, which is really cool. And then we're partnered up with Tailgate and Tall Boys. It's a festival series in the Midwest. Our buddies Wayne and Austin run that now in conjunction with Peachtree Entertainment, big promoter in the Southeast that we also work with. And that is in Clinton, Iowa, Bloomington, Illinois. They had done Midland, Michigan in the past and Taylorville, Illinois in the past, but they're not doing Taylorville and Midland this year. But for those, I'm on stage emceeing the whole festival. I'm in front of 20 to 30,000 a day, introducing artists, doing bits. We have a t-shirt can we shoot stuff off of. I'll find like these, like the rowdiest looking dude, the biggest bearded looking dude in Clinton, Iowa. And I'll find him in the front row. They're usually in the front row.
Because they have the money because they're in oil.
Well, because they're in oil, or they're just degenerate and
fan.
wanting to party.
Yeah.
And I'll be like you, and I'll have security lift him up, and I'll have him shotgun a beer on stage in front of, like, just get the crowd hyped, you know?
So you're the hype guy.
Yeah.
One of the hype guys.
One of the hype guys, yeah. And our buddy Cliffy D, who's a Nashville native, originally from Hendersonville, lives down in Murfreesboro now. He's the one that helped get us in there, and he'll DJ in between sets. So we host, like on the flyer, it has all these big names on it, and then it says hosted by Raised Rowdy, which is really cool. And then we're doing, for the first time, we're going out to Oklahoma, which I'm very excited about. Because in my touring life, I got to go out there a lot when I was with the Muscadine guys and with Trey Lewis. There's a bar in Stillwater, Oklahoma called the Tumbleweed. And,
I've heard great things.
Legendary spot. It's actually where Garth Brooks was like the house band. He was a bouncer there way back in the day. Like, it's where all of his career, and there's so much history there. They do a big festival called Cat Fry every May, and we're going to be hosting that one, like on stage, emceeing live podcasts, selling the merchandise, capturing content.
You guys got a busy year.
We don't stop, but that's just if you
stop, then you're done.
If you stop, then you're gonna miss stuff, and it's like we're at the point where we just have to grind. We have a lot of balls in the air. Usually, it's like a company will focus more on the merchandise and the lifestyle and growing that and running online ads, doing that, or focus on the podcast.
We have like 25 balls in the air.
That's what I'm saying. You get it. Yeah. So it's like you're balancing booking the events, you're on site hosting the events. You're
also doing podcasts on your free time.
Yeah. We're dropping between 15 to 20 podcasts a month on a good month. And that's running and gunning on video and audio, going through those clips, booking that. You know how much goes into just this, what we're doing right here. And then you're trying to keep up with the lifestyle brand and keep your eyes and ears on the ground for the next big thing of artists that are coming up.
Yeah,
and keeping those relationships.
We over the last couple years, even since you and I have talked, we have built so many good systems, and I'm like, wow, let me just pass some of these systems off to you to ease your life. We could talk about that off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now let's get more into your personality.
Yeah.
You've been in Nashville for 6 years now.
Yeah.
You were a radio DJ in New York. Yeah, New York, New Jersey. That was the station.
New Jersey. Yeah, okay. It'd be like being in, saying Kentucky, but being just over the border kind of thing.
Okay.
You know.
But you grew up in the Northeast. So let's walk me through your experience in the Northeast. And with that in mind, it's going to be, what are your thoughts actually about Nashville? Like your true thoughts about Nashville.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm very blessed and grateful to have grown up where I did. Rockland County, New York, small suburb, just smallest county per square capita in the state of New York. And it's right next to Westchester, so it's Jersey side of the Hudson River. The funny part of being from there is that to the city, I'm as upstate as where you're from, but to upstate, I'm the city. I'm like right there.
Yeah. I would say you're in the city.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I mean, yeah, we're right there. But yeah, I'm grateful to have grown up there, and to have kind of adopted that New York hustle. You know, it's like you get
even in your speech.
Yeah,
like you can hear that New York hustle. It's like, let's just get the thought out and go.
Yeah. Let's just go. And there's that grind to it. And it's like end of the day means like end of the day kind of thing. Like it's just
like you're going to bed tired.
Yes. Yeah. Like it's just hustle. And I don't practice that as much as I should, but it is something that I learned growing up there, and grew up in a good area, about 30 miles outside New York City. Got to fall in love with New York sport teams like the Yankees and stuff like that. And then also got to fall in love with country music, because there's enough artists that have always gone through toward New York, toward New Jersey, toward Connecticut. Like my first show as a kid was a Tim McGraw concert in 2003 at the old Continental Arenas across from the Meadowlands on the Turnpike, which was really cool.
My wife and I were talking about my first concert the other day. And
who was it?
It was Britney Spears and NSYNC.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was my first concert. Yeah. Montage Mountain. In Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The Electric City, baby. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was my first like official sit down concert.
Yeah, that's a big show back in the day too.
It was a massive show. It was like maybe like 2000. Maybe, I don't even know.
Yeah, those were like the biggest artists of that time for a while, man.
Yeah, it was a interesting experience.
Oh, I'm sure.
And me as like a young teen boy, I'm like, oh yeah, Britney Spears.
Oh yeah. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh yeah. But yeah, it's as far as Nashville though, like moving down here is the best decision I've ever made. Like, and to get down here when I did, to get down here October of 2018, like right before, I always say BC, before COVID, you know, like, because a lot of things changed, and being up there and working in radio when I was up there would have been very tough. I mean, I ran my college radio station, had a great mentor up there, a guy named John Moses. And he taught me how to close deals on the sales side. I was doing a lot of hosting. We were like doing promotions, like giving away a car at commencement. Like, that's cool. Doing all kinds, that's awesome. Learning all of that. And then turning an internship with Beasley Media, Greater Media, with WMGQ, WCTC, and turning that into getting to be on air and doing the promo events. But I spent a lot of nights sleeping on my boss's couch, like in her office, you know, like I would do. It would just. What time were you hosting the radio show? So I was what was they like at 3 p.m. I was what they would call a swing man. So I had regular shift that was overnights. That was automation mostly. I think there was once or twice that I did do it live, but most of it was overnight. Like pre-recorded. Pre-recorded, yeah. Get in there, press a button, on to the next thing. Like just quick. I used to be able to do a 5-hour show pre-recorded in about 15 minutes. That's fantastic. Yeah, they're quick, you know. It's like you have your liners, bing, bang, boom. But I would cover for the whatever show, like say the morning show was out of town. I'd be the sub, so it'd be me on the morning drive, giving away tickets, working with the traffic person, doing this, doing that. So I worked every day part in my 2 or 3 years that I was there, which was cool. But then that hustle has translated well to being down here. When I moved down here, I bounced on Broadway. Mm-hmm. I did security my first year and a half down here. Okay. And I had never done security a day in my life. Yeah. I got thrown. I was at Dierks Bentley's Whiskey Row. Okay. And at that time, that was pre-Aldean's, pre-Luke Bryan's, pre-Kid Rock's. That was when the big bars were Crazy Town, Honky Tonk Central, Tootsie's, Dierks, and Acme Fiend Seed. A little bit. Yeah. Acme a little bit, but it was very much like FGL and Dierks were the two big artist bars where it was crazy. And you see a lot of stuff down there, and you learn how to handle yourself and babysit people, and I'm grateful. A lot of drunk people, yeah. Oh yeah, and I was working down there during the NFL draft. You know, like I got to be down there. 2018 Broadway was awesome. Now I think it's a little saturated with all the bars that are down there. It's tough. Yeah. It's tough for that many people to get a decent bite of the pizza pie. You know, there's only so many people to go around down there. But yeah, it was cool working. You said you just mentioned briefly that you got thrown. Did you get like a throwdown fight type situation? Oh no! I got thrown into it. I mean, we had lots of times where I mostly worked the day shift, so it's a lot of the day drinkers. So by the end of my shift, it would get crazy. During the week, I would work nights. On like Monday, I think it was Monday, Tuesday night I would work, and then I'd work Friday, Saturday, Sunday day shift. So I'd go 9 a.m. Oh, then you're the calm people. Well, they're not. I mean, it depends. Sunday Fun Days. Sunday Fun Days wild. You get people before a Titans game, and then right after a 1 o'clock Titans game. Especially back then, Titans were, I believe, a win or two away from the Super Bowl that year in 2018, 2019. So they were a good team. But yeah, it was growing up in New York. I loved it. Grateful. I'll always rep being a New Yorker and proud. I always say that I'm a damn Yankee because I moved down here and have decided not to go home. I know you can resonate with that. You know? And they all still call us Yankees. Yeah, they all still call us Yankees and all that. But moving down here was the best decision that I made in my life. And this is just a question I like to ask people. But where has Nashville lacked? Where is Nashville? For a long time, it was Italian food. For a very long time, it was Italian food. You know it as well as anybody, dude. We have every kind of food here. Now we do. We do. In the last 5 years. We really do. It's not quite New York where every ethnic food style is represented, but it's also not like New York where I'm paying $100 for a chicken parm sandwich. Yeah, or where there's 13 million, there's 9 or 10 million people on a 13-mile island. You know, it's a different. You're not comparing apples to apples when you're comparing the 5 boroughs to here. Different things, but I mean, there's definitely lacks within the Nashville public transit and the way the traffic's handled. I know we dove into it more than I thought we would last time. I sat down together when I had you when I had you on OTR. But yeah, I mean, the way that the traffic stuff is, like, it blows my mind that they're like the way the infrastructure is. Maybe it's just because coming from New York, granted, there's a lot of traffic up there too, but think of how much more there would be if there weren't those public transportation options.
Well, and now they just did the price increase based on demand, surge pricing for the tolls going into New York.
Brutal.
And have you seen the statistics of how much traffic went down in like a 24-hour period?
No.
It was like a 40% decrease from traffic going into the tunnels or using the bridges and getting charged for it to go into New York.
Yeah, it's just taking
crazy. And it happened like last week.
Yeah, they're like, I'll hop on the train, I'll hop on the bus.
Which, like, the train situation is interesting because the guardian angels are back, guarding the train because of how much crime and stuff is there.
They have to be. I mean,
what's your most bizarre story out of New York? I have a couple, but what's your most bizarre story?
Most bizarre story. See, growing up, I didn't go into the city like a ton. A ton.
There's no reason to when you're 30 minutes away.
Well, yeah, when you're 30 minutes away, it's like I had everything that I would need. I mean, but like school field trips growing up, like I got to see The Lion King on Broadway. I was like 10.
That's cool.
You know, like you get to go around the Statue of Liberty on a party cruise after your high school dances. Like we're spoiled with all that stuff. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff at Yankee games, Yankee Stadium. I grew up in the old stadium mostly, and lots of the bleacher creatures are the creatures for a reason. There's a reason they stopped serving beer after the third inning now. You know,
that makes sense. My most bizarre story is I got strip search at the UN.
Ooh, what are you doing at the UN?
I was doing.
That's my question. What's stupid?
I did a couple things at the UN.
Okay.
No, we were. I was part of the Methodist denomination at that time.
Okay.
And we met with senior leadership. I was like 16 it was a while ago. We went to New York, met with Methodist leadership, and then we went to the UN. And my buddy literally said, he's like, he has crack on him. And so they took me in the back room and like basically strip searched me. I ended up throwing him down a flight of stairs in the UN. There's probably footage of this somewhere. They probably have footage, and they're like, yeah, this happened. This type of situation happens all the time. But that situation happened to me.
Yeah.
And then it happened to me again at the Holocaust Museum. And I'm like, why?
Of all the places to come on.
Interesting things to. I have really fascinating stories about those. That was bizarre. Probably one of the coolest experiences in New York is we got stuck in traffic. I was on a coach bus, and we were stuck like 51st Avenue. Like we weren't moving for like an hour. There's a pizza shop right next to us, and I'm like, I'm hungry. I want food, and I want to make some money. And I literally called the pizza guy. I said, hey, can you get me a pizza in like 5 minutes? And he brought a pizza from the restaurant into the bus, and I ended up selling like 20 pizzas or something. Wow. It was bizarre to everyone on the bus. I made like $150.
The hustler.
Yeah, it's just that was a really fun experience too. That was when I was like 14.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But New York is an interesting beast.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate it as much until I left. Okay. You know, like growing up, I would always say like, leave me Yankee Stadium, leave me the Garden, and the rest can float away to England. It's
what was your oh my gosh, the Carnegie Deli. Were you a fan of Carnegie Deli?
I've never been. No,
unfortunately they closed.
Yeah, I've got so many deli. I think 10 pizzerias, like 4 or 5 bagel joints within like walking distance of my suburban house that I grew up in. Like
that's fantastic.
You would have 3 pizza shops that would blow away most of the stuff down here in the same strip center. Yeah. Like within a walk. So for me, it was like, I mean, Cat's Deli, elite. Mm-hmm. John's elite. You know, there's some great stuff in the Village. The original Murray's Cheese Shop, like elite stuff. You know, New York's Carmine's. New York's always going to have, the city's always going to have the cream of the crop, the prime. But for me, it was like I could get all that stuff back home. You used to be able to go into places. You could go into Oscars and you could get 2 slices and a soda for like $4.
Dude, I miss those deals. And then you come here and you get 2 slices and a drink and you're like, that's $14?
Yeah.
Why are you charging that?
They can charge that down here because there's not a lot of it, you know?
Yeah. There was a pizza deal in my hometown because I grew up in small town, upstate New York. Yeah. We had like 51 pizza restaurants within 25 miles.
Crazy,
but there was a $3.99 deal, 2 slices of cheese pizza and a Coke for $3.99. You're like, dude, I wish those days still existed.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of food, Who's doing pizza well here? Who's doing bagels well here? We can get deep into that category.
Oh, we definitely can. Tootie, dude.
Yeah.
They do
everything.
Such a great job.
Everything.
They do such a great job, man. Everything across the board is fantastic. If we're talking about just the brand, the Italian stuff, Pilato has
that sandwich. The Italian sandwich that they serve for brunch.
Yeah.
One of the best sandwiches in Nashville.
Yeah. Pilato has become like one.
But he's from New York too.
Yeah, Anthony. Yeah. And it's funny. He worked for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Which is cool too. He's got the where's the World Series ring on his finger, which is awesome. But yeah, I love Pilato. We were just there for my girlfriend's birthday a couple weeks back, and it's just fantastic. Like the small plates.
But it's more New York Italian. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not like Italian. It's New York American Italian.
And to me, that's what when I think of Italian, I think of New York Italian. And I like their sister restaurant or brother, whatever. I guess it would be sister restaurant. Luogo's not bad either. I prefer Pilato over Luogo. And then talking about pizza just in general, I mean, it's funny. My girlfriend lives up in Robertson County. She lives up in Cross Plains. So I spend a lot of time now in Hendersonville and White House and Goodlettsville, Greenbrier, Gallatin, beautiful country. I love Robertson County a lot. Honestly, and again, I might get crucified for this. No pun intended being in church. But I don't mind like the White House pizza pubs.
Okay.
The Stewart, what is it? I think is it Stewart Ferry or whatever the one is that's over in Hendersonville. The Prince Street. Yeah. They're like bar pies, like the bar pie pizza. Like
Are they good? Are they good, Joe?
Yeah, they're very.
Okay.
It's different from New York because it's not like the big slice and it's not like the very thin like you get at Dicey's. Okay. It's like
I'm not a fan of Dicey's. Dicey's okay.
Yeah, again, it's a different style. You know, that's the way I look at it. They have a thing, and originally when my girlfriend got it, I was like, "Babe, are you sure?" Like, I don't know about this. And it's called the Music City Miracle, and it's hot chicken and pickles and ranch.
Sounds awesome.
Oh, dude,
sounds like I need to go make a video about it.
Bro, yeah, they are great, and it's just like that hometown kind of vibe. Like they're very fun sit down place. They have a bunch of great beers on tap. Like it's a great spot. So I like those for pizza. Then as far as bagels, I mean, I haven't been eating a lot of bagels down here. I used to go, when I first got out to Hermitage, I went through a Jersey oven phase, as most of us do when you end up on that eastern part of town, that Mount Juliet, Hermitage, Donaldson, Old Hickory corridor. But yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten a lot of.
Have you tried H&S?
Yes, they're solid. They're solid. Bacon, egg, and cheese is good. A little skip me a little bit on the bacon, but I'm always gonna be picky about that.
Yeah, of course. What? Back to the music scene.
Yeah.
If people are moving to Nashville and to pursue a music career, what should they expect?
I mean, expect that there's a lot of people here doing it. You know, that's what we are. That's at our core. And you showcase so well how many industries are coming here. Like Nashville we're always going to be like music city, but
we're the healthcare technology hub of the world.
Yeah,
we're the leading state in agriculture. Like manufacturing, we're massive except for that Nissan.
Yeah. We're not
Nissan. Yeah. The Bridgestone tire debacle.
Yeah. We're a metropolis that's in a rare spot. I mean, it's not that rare when you think about it, because we are in the center, like more centralized of the country. We have the major highways that run through. Like it makes sense why we'd have so much of that. But as far as going back to your question with the music stuff, the thing that I would say is like advice and what to expect. I mean, you got to be hungry for it. You've really got to want it. You got to be patient. Everybody's going to have their time. Everybody's path, just like anything, is a little bit different. And then to go out and meet people. Like for me, my biggest thing was going to Whiskey Jam on Mondays, going to Revival on Tuesdays when I wasn't working, going to Why Not Wednesdays, going to Red Door, going to Losers, come to one of our events, go watch Rebel Rouser, go watch Smash Farm, any of the events that are going on. You're naming
some of the events I've never even heard of.
You're not I'm not in this. You're not in the scene, and that's okay. Nashville isn't the place where if you want to be in music, like you got to be in the scene. Just like if you want to be like commentary on the culinary stuff, you got to go try a new place when it opens, you know, like you get it from that perspective. But yeah, it would just be go out and meet people. Nobody's going to know that you're here unless you're out introducing yourself.
So there's this theory that Nashville is a 10-year town. And you may have heard that in the passing. And I've heard from multiple artists that it took them 10 years to be successful in this city.
Yeah.
Which, and I know every person's definition of success is different.
Yes.
But does Nashville still have that? I know social media changes things, but even with the rise of social media, is Nashville still a 10-year town?
I think everybody's path is different. I really, really do. I mean, you're going to have people that I think it just evolves so much. I mean, you look at somebody like Bailey Zimmerman, prime example. Bailey had never been on a stage before, had never played in front of anybody. He got a following on TikTok being silly, talking about his trucks. That's how he got his initial audience back home in Illinois. And he came and played one of our events. Because he had like sang a couple like cover songs or whatever. Like he's not a big guitar player or anything, but his path, and somebody like say Luke Combs, who had been grinding back in his college town for a long time. He started playing bar gigs and hustling and grinding out in Boone when he was at App State. So many people that come up doing the cover band thing, and you pay your dues that way. Then I like both paths. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do it. And I think you're seeing with people like the Baileys of the world, like the Megs, like the old 60s, like you're seeing that people are those people are here to stay. Cause I think that was a big criticism of kind of the TikTok boom of 2020 and 2021 was, are these social media pops, are they here to stay? Can it be done without the having to come to town, play the big events, get the smoke going here, start your fire here in Nashville, and then find a team that takes it everywhere? Can it be done reverse, where your fire starts in your small town, or the world knows you before you even get here via TikTok, via Instagram?
I'll just look at the what's his name, Mason, the yodeling kid,
Mason Ramsey. Yeah, I actually just did a podcast with him recently, and I mean. And he's gotten to do a bunch. He's still out there selling shows and stuff.
Yeah, he's doing a TV series now. I think maybe I've heard.
Possibly, yeah. But I think there's so many different ways to do it, you know. But my biggest advice would be, although you can do it you can be like a big fish in your small pond, and you can reach an audience without necessarily, in theory, being here. If you want to be a star in the game, if you want to be on the all-star team, you got to get on the freaking field, and the field and the game is here.
Yes,
it's in Nashville. It is. And you even see it with the guys and girls in Texas, you know,
they're coming here.
Yeah. There's so many people that
Ireland, Australia, country.
Yeah. Gareth, like there's so many people, like you have to have some form of your business has to be here. Yep. You have to have some connection with this place. Just like if you're in stocks or you're in finance,
you should be in New York or.
Yeah, you could be in a number of different places, but you're going to have to go to New York once or twice a year. Yeah. You know, if you were in entertainment or you were in filmmaking, you were going to have to go to Hollywood once or twice a year. Like it's like that. You have to at least be here a little bit, you know?
What's the long-term goal for Raised Rowdy?
Long-term goal for Raised Rowdy. I mean, we have a few different avenues that we can kind of go down. I mean, the festival thing's a lot of fun. It'd be cool to get our name attached and really get into that world.
Do you guys eventually see yourself having your own festival?
Yeah. And finding the right partners to do that. And we have a lot to learn because every festival and every market's different. The festival crowd in the Northeast is different than the Southeast, is different than the Midwest, is different than Red Dirt Country, is different than the West Coast, you know? And so far through our lens, we've seen the Southeast. And luckily I have a lot of experience from being on the road, doing the tour manager thing and traveling with bands. I've been to 43 states, you know, like I've gotten to see, and particularly on the music fan side, I've gotten to see how these crowds,
different cultures. And
a crowd in Topeka, Kansas is going to be a little bit different than a crowd in Birmingham, Alabama.
Of course.
They love country music. They paid their hard-earned money to come see a show. They're going to be fun, but they're going to have different attributes to them, you know? So like doing a music festival would be cool. We want to obviously grow the merch line. We want to figure out like our processes of getting more content out there. That's kind of been like our struggle. Like neither Nick or I, we have guys that'll help capture for us and do editing, but like growing that is a thing that we want to do. Bring on more sponsorship partners like Surfside, people like that we can kind of be ambassadors to, brand partnerships through our events in Nashville, and just continue to grow our events and continue to be a shining thing for our for the community, you know?
Where, sorry, I know that was the goal, but where do you guys see Raised Rowdy in 5 years?
I mean, I didn't see it. It was never meant to be like as big into events as it's become, but that's become a huge part of our identity and a huge generator just for us overall across the board. I could see us doing, and it's funny, Nick, this is more Nick stuff, so I can't take credit for this, but Nick has wanted to do, and I'm with it as well, about getting into releasing songs with people as a record label type of ordeal, you know, doing like 1-song deals or compilation records where like you used to have like back in the old school rap days, the Lyricist Lounge was a cool one.
Oh, yeah,
Most Def and all those people on there. But like find 10 artists that are here in town that we think are going to be solid, that are like fit our thing, and do cut a song with them. You know, like we have friends that are in the producer space, like doing that type of thing or getting into it on that side could be an option over the next 5 years, but also like getting our merchandise into retail, like scaling, you know. Our goal was going into 2024 was to grow 3 times. We managed to do that some way, somehow. We're going to do that again this year, you know, and to grow 3 times to get to 9X from when I initially came on as a partner would be.
It's a huge, really cool. It's a huge deal.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And it's just keeping the blinders on too, you know, because there are the music world in Nashville as a whole is competitive, and you can't be looking at what, say, the competitors do. But we also don't view people as competitors. Like Nicky T has a Whiskey Jam tattoo on his arm, you know, like we're homies with Ward. We're homies with the guys from Nothing Fancy. We know the guys from Country Central. Like Mark Addison Chandler runs Grindhouse at 6th and Peabody, Old Smoky.
Have you guys done like collaborations with 615 House?
Yeah,
and, like,
so Chris is a very, very good friend of ours. So we co-hosted Sony's CMA party, CMA Fest event with them last year. Nick emceed that with Chris. And then we're doing a takeover with Nothing Fancy coming up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Done a bunch with them. They're the biggest hat in country music, you know, like, and Jackson and Don and the crew that they have are awesome. And they're at a lot of the same festivals that we are, but we love to collaborate, and we're everybody's friend, you know? Yeah. But it's important to keep the blinders on, to focus on what you're doing. Yeah, to focus on what you're doing. Like, there's so many different things that, like, even similar to what you do, like different things that are very like that Nashville hub. And I know you guys have so many irons in the fire that make you distinctly different, but it's like you got to focus on what you're doing and not get caught up in what somebody else is doing, you know?
The team knows this. We have things that we're working on that no one else is going to be able to touch.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But it's important, to keep your head where you're at and keep your blinders on. Just like they always tell artists, like, don't be like, if that person has a big song and then the artist is like, well, why not me? You know, and gets in their head about it. It's like, no, everybody's path is different. You got to be like a racehorse and have your blinders on, you know?
What type of trends do you see in the music industry that may be unique in 2025?
I mean, I'm interested to see what happens long term with the TikTok stuff. You know, is it here? Is it not? I think it's here, but seeing that, I mean, there's a lot of young kids right now. There's some very young kids. I mean, you look at like a kid like Ty Myers just had the #1 album on Apple. He's 17 years old in Texas. 17, still living there with his mom and dad. Look at Hudson Westbrook. He's 19, 20 years old, killing it, just sold out Billy Bob's. Like, there's kids that are coming up. Usually it was, you had to wait and you were kind of like molded or like groomed by the industry in a way to like get to, and you would blow up like in your 20s. Now with social media and everything at the fingertips, they're just doing it. So there's a lot, like Texas is having a moment right now. And they always have had their finger on the pulse of like the country music world. But these kids from Texas, and you see a little bit of the Nashville thing, but you also see that Texas Western rodeo thing, which is cool. And it's like a blend of that. And then the young females. There are some females with powerful voices, stuff that we haven't seen like belting wise since probably like the Carrie Underwoods. Like there's some babies that are coming up. There's this girl Jade that's a youngin'. There's this girl Kinsley that's a youngin' that can belt. Like there's just like, and not to mention the crop that's coming up right now of like the Ella Langleys, the Meg Maronis. They're a little bit like, they can belt it, but they're not as belty as like a Carrie, you know, or like the 90s women where they would just like Reba, they would just hit that note. You know how it is. Like they would just hit that note. Like there's a crop of girls like 22 and younger that are coming up that can do that. So I'm interested to see how that works and all that.
How do you think, with you guys being in the live events, how do you think AI, VR, AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, how is that going to impact live events in the future? Because it's happening in a sense, especially in the VR world where they're doing these concerts with VR, and it's basically a camera op that's filming the artist, and it's like this personalized experience kind of thing. So it's happening. Yeah. But where do you see all of that blending into in the next few years?
I mean, you see it a little bit with the Sphere, with like in Vegas, with the
one of the best case studies ever in the world.
Yeah.
Even like though they lost a lot of money, but now they're making back.
No, they're going to make it back.
Yeah, and there are already talks of opening multiple ones.
Yeah. I mean, to me, there's nothing like being at a concert and the energy of a crowd, whether it's a club, whether it's a stadium, whether it's a theater, whether it's a listening room. You know, there's nothing that to me that can replicate that. You know, so for me, I'm not worried about like events going away. Now, are there people that would love to go see a show and not have to deal with the crazy crowds and the traffic and all that? Absolutely.
That's me.
Yeah. Yes, and it's great that there's going to be those VR options for people that are like that. But to me, the event of like you're tailgating, you're hanging out with your friends, you're seeing the openers, you're doing like there's so much. But again, I'm crazy. Like I'm somebody that used to go to 50, 60 shows a year. You know, like I'm built a little bit different to where I love live music. There's music lovers and there's live music lovers.
Of course.
And I think the live music lovers are still gonna go and pay money and go to the festivals, go to the shows, do all that stuff. But do I think there's gonna be like VR, like the video wall thing, like what the Sphere's doing? Yeah, absolutely. And you see it in the production and shows. Like you see it going to a Morgan Wallen concert. The video show's insane. You go to like a Co-Wetzel show, video show's insane. Like Luke Combs, not as much on the video side, but the lighting and the production, like there's more production in country music now than there's ever been. So I think that they're going to utilize, if there's resources to add on to a show in that experience, then I think that.
All right. Two final things we'll wrap up. Favorite live music venue in Nashville? Personal favorite outside of you hosting events?
Yeah, I love where we're at right now with Duck Blind. It's been really cool doing that. That's been like a fun thing. But as far as like you're asking like if I'm paying,
your personal, like you're going to pay
if I'm paying money to go to a show. I mean the Ryman's hard to touch. What I will say about that is that I like standing at the shows. I don't.
Like the sitting experience.
I'm more of a club guy than a theater guy when it comes to my shows, but acoustics, Ryman for sure. I really, really do like Brooklyn Bowl a lot. I think Brooklyn Bowl is fantastic. I love that concept got brought down from New York City to Nashville. The balcony section there is great. The acoustics are fantastic. It's very well located in Germantown. Plenty of parking around. So I like that one a lot. And then Marathon's cool. I do like Marathon. Exit In, when you get the right show at the Exit In, there's something about being in an older room like that. It just gets you going.
The history.
Yeah.
All right. So it's the last question. It's the 100-year anniversary of the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
Have they, from being in the event space that you're in?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Grand Ole Opry?
I mean, it's an institution. Mm-hmm. It's a big thing. It's who we are with country music, and they embody the new. They still you'll go in there and you'll see a group of dudes in their 70s or 80s doing the same things they were doing 50, 60 years ago, and it's awesome. But then you'll see like the old 60 guys that just played, or like Nate Smith just played, or like Zach Top or Ella or Meg, or it's such a landmark of just country music. And it to me shows more than like the Country Music Museum does, you know, it is the Country Music Museum in that it's getting added
live in person.
Live in person. And it's a big deal whenever anybody plays it. It's a big deal. It'll be a big deal forever, you know? And it's just, to me, it's the Opry. I didn't go until last year. Last year, I think, was the first time that I actually went. But it's awesome.
That's great. Matt, where can people follow the podcast? Where can they learn about Raised Rowdy?
So you guys can look up Raised Rowdy, all one word, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can find me at Matt Burrill with 3 L's at the end, BURRILLL. And then we're at Duck Blind, Riley Green's Duck Blind on Division Street in Midtown every Sunday for Rowdy on the Row, every Tuesday for Outside the Round, and every Wednesday for Wednesdays at the Duck Blind. And then I also host Outside the Round podcast, which I have an episode with Stuart on there. If you haven't checked it out, pop on there and check it out. And then we got a bunch of merchandise on our website. Stuart, big fan of the shirts, which I love. We're going to have to get you hooked up with some.
Yeah. Those shirts that you gave me are fantastic. We have a lot of really cool things coming out in the future
awesome.
too. Yeah.
Look up shop.raisedrowdy.com for any of our merchandise.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate you.